Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the United States of America podcast. We are actually trying to do something a little new today. I have invited Michelle on the call, and she and I are going to introduce a new series that we're calling Exit Stage Left. And we just feel that this is really important for all of our assemblies, and for anyone who is wanting to learn how to exit this false system. There's a false system that's happening out there. And so, what does exit stage left mean? Exit stage left, friends, means it's an orderly and an uneventful departure. And this is when you're departing out of a theater. And I don't know, I just felt, Michelle, like this was very appropriate because we are kind of living in a theater, and it's an artificial theater, and we're interested in getting back to reality. And so we wanted to invite people to exit stage left because we're a people at peace and we're not interested in wars. And we haven't been at war since, the Declaration of Independence. We haven't been at war. Americans have declared peace, and we've been at peace since then. What do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, you're reminding me of a couple of things from popular culture when I was growing up. First of all, there was the Truman Show. Remember that? The Jim Carrey movie where the guy realized holy smokes, I'm living in a fake world, right? And then there was also that song from this band called Rush, right? Remember Rush? And the song was called Limelight, and it was the world's a stage. And so as you were talking just now, I'm like, that's what it's reminding me of. It's reminding me of um the paradigm of the world and how the world is like this commercial system, and it's a man-made paradigm, involving pop culture things, you know agendized news and hypnosis, through television and all forms of entertainment, including sports and art and high fashion and everything, television, radio, movie. It's the whole thing, the whole narrative. It's
It's
all one big world.
it's sad that it's difficult to enjoy entertainment when we know the things that we know. And like the other part of the definition of exit stage left is that, you know, uh, it's an orderly and uneventful departure, but also it's timed so as not to detract or distract.
Right.
And I think that it's very important here, for people to just know this. We've been kind of forced into this play, and they
Mhm.
keep kind of like feeding us lines. They're feeding us the lines of, you can be anything that you want. You can even be a boy or a girl. You can even be, I mean, and the thing is that the programming, this mind control, the brainwashing is, and I know that I'm triggering people with all these words, you
Yeah,
know.
you're not allowed to say some of this stuff, Niti.
Yeah. So one thing that I want everyone to know is that in working with Anna, one of the things that I love is that every time I face a question about whatever is going on right now, she's reminding me all the time, you know, we're not politicians. We're living men and women. We're not actors. We're living men and women. And Michelle, you're teaching a class in which you're pulling clips from the propaganda, from the official narrative, the official media, and it demonstrates for everyone, um, the clips of the narrative being spoken out loud on a reel by actors who are all, required mandatorily to just read the script.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're unscripted here.
Yeah, newscasters are notorious for, no matter what channel you're watching, when there's a particular agenda that they need to get out into like the consciousness of people, what they do is they repeat the same thing no matter what channel you're watching. So you could be considering yourself, an American patriot, and you're watching Fox, or you could consider yourself, a diehard Democrat, and you're watching CNN or whatever. You're going to get the same message. They're going to keep the divide and conquer thing alive when it comes to political candidates, right? So Fox is going to bash the Democrat candidates, and CNN is going to bash the conservative candidate, or whatever, the left wingers and the right wingers or whatever. But the point is, the agenda stuff is going to be spot on no matter what station you watched. For example, when we were in the middle of the COVID pandemic, right? It didn't matter what channel you watched. The statistics were the same. The narrative was the same. They were pushing everybody to go get this, now proven, of course, ineffective and unsafe product, right? So the agenda is overarching, and it drives people to have like collective beliefs about certain things. Meanwhile, they've got people fighting over politics. And so they think all the attention is on politics, for example, when really what's happening behind closed doors is right out in the open, actually. And the narrative is alive and well. And then next thing you know, an entire globe got shut down, with few exceptions. And that's just the most recent example. But we've got, people paying attention now to, Russia, Ukraine, or, Israel, Palestine. And it's like the next war. And now it's all about disease X. Oh, disease X. And they just have to keep everybody in a perpetual state of fear, divide and conquer, and be in fear. Mm-hmm. Because when people are in that state, they're easily manipulated.
Well, there's currently a race to control human consciousness. And they're all racing for this. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't really understand human consciousness. It's not something that we've ever been taught. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, Michelle, have you ever learned in school? Did they ever teach you what consciousness actually is?
No. No.
So I'll give you a demonstration, because like I kind of do this in the food church. We show people, I've tried to explain to people what human consciousness is. Mm-hmm. And I think we all are aware that we are vibrational beings, mm-hmm. and that this is a vibrational universe. I mean, do we all kind of know that? I kind of feel like we kind of know that, right?
Well, I know this might sound really silly, but there was always the term about catching someone's vibe, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty much the extent of it.
I can see that. Yeah. So like, can you guys see this? I'm going to do like real elementary school.
Oh, style. Yeah. The waves, energy waves.
Okay. So this is like frequencies, Mm-hmm. So what is human consciousness? Okay. So let's pretend like these black lines are all the unwavering truth, right? The unwavering truth.
You mean the straight line?
Yeah. Any of the black mm-hmm. lines going across, right? Uh-huh. And then this wave, I did a bad job with my drawing, sorry. But the wave is like, how frequently each person A, B, and C intersect with the truth. You see that?
Oh,
so like,
uh-huh.
So person A more frequently intersects with the truth versus person B versus C, right? Uh-huh. So you would call this person A operating on a higher vibration versus this person C who's on a lower vibration. And then what do you do when you have somebody, what do you call it when you have somebody who is 100% aligned with the truth. What do you call that? That person looks like this. This is what that looks like when
Really?
you're
That's so interesting because it looks really
mhm.
chaotic.
Yeah, but they're the vibration is so they're one. It is one. It is oneness. It's the law of one.
Interesting.
So so you know, it also explains, why does this person A comprehend something that B doesn't versus C, right? Why do some people understand what I'm talking about and the other people don't understand what I'm talking about? How come some people comprehend 100% when I say you should not violate your sacred bloodstream, when other people are like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, brother." Like you definitely, like this is the reason why, cuz everybody's on a different frequency. Everybody is in touch with reality on a
Mhm.
different plane. And, what we're trying to do is help to raise the vibration, good vibrations, right? You want to
Oh,
raise the
yeah.
vibration. So,
I just heard the Beach Boys in my head. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So we're trying to raise the vibration. And one of the ways that you could do that is to walk outside and plant your feet firmly on the soil. Isn't it
Grounding.
interesting? Yeah, so isn't it fascinating? Everything comes back to the land and the soil.
Mhm.
If you just plant your feet firmly outside on the land and the soil,
Yep.
then boom, all of a sudden you're able to what you do is you discharge a whole bunch of electrons because we are not only vibrational beings, we are electrical beings. We're electrical beings. And this is something like from like I'm a nutrition coach. Okay. So I'll just real quick like slide in something there that, sugar corrodes electricity and salt conducts electricity. And so
Mm.
when they're telling, and so fat conducts electricity and water corrodes electricity. So these are just some things for people to think about, you know. Anyway, bringing us back to I was speaking with Michelle friends out there in YouTube land, and I was saying, "Hey, Michelle, um, we, one of the things that Anna keeps reiterating to me is, Niti, we're not politicians. We are living men and women. And,
Yeah.
the more that we speak truth, the more that we push this truth, the more that we share this information, there's a bunch of people who are coming after us and they're not interested in hearing this because they're just on that lower vibration. And everything that we say is psychologically triggering. This is like literally professional term trigger. Trigger is a professional psychological term when you are dealing with people who are mind controlled and brainwashed.
Mhm.
I know a bunch of people just probably just checked out.
Well, which is fine, right? That's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
People ever like you were saying earlier with your drawings there, people are where they are, you know?
Yes.
And this whole concept, this whole reality for some of us, right? For some people it's a concept of doing status correction and getting back on the land. But for those of us that have done it, it's reality. But then even once you do that, even once you declare yourself as being back on the land, being of the land, grabbing that promised land, right? So once you do that, there's a whole other set of learning and growing and unlearning, right? That has to happen. Otherwise, we're bound to repeat the mistakes of the people that came before us, um, who are
Yeah.
looking for leaders. Where are the leaders when
Where is
they're
the leadership? There's,
yeah.
since 2020, and I mean, I would say I'd argue back since probably the 70s and before. I mean, well, I only know what I know from the 70s, but I would argue that we haven't really had any good leadership, because good leaders don't allow chaos and confusion.
Well, yeah. Well, the other thing is too. I mean, knowing who the father of all lies and chaos and confusion is, kind of helps to realize that there's a whole other thing available. But
Yeah.
in the corporate model, the whole commercial system is like layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of like it's so confusing that we don't know. We grew up
Well,
knowing there are
lies
like,
are confusing, Michelle.
oh yeah,
Lies are confusing because you can't remember them, okay?
no,
You can't stand on lies.
no, you can't.
It's the reason they put us in school, Michelle, so that we could memorize
Hmm.
all this lies and immorality.
That's right. Yeah,
They put us in s
including the food pyramid.
oh, don't get me started
Don't
now.
get you started on the
Okay.
food pyramid.
Don't get me started on a so there is no food pyramid,
Right.
friends. There is no food pyramid. I mean, if you actually I don't think the lions and the tigers and the elephants and even the whales or the bluebirds, nobody requires a food pyramid
Right.
except apparently us. Like the people don't seem to know how to recognize. And you know what it is we can't recognize real food if it slapped us in the face because we have grocery stores. It's this centralized paradigm. So a lot of people haven't really there's very few people now that have lived long enough to remember that there weren't grocery stores always. There
Right.
we didn't always have grocery stores. And in fact, grocery stores only became a really big thing um, like not long before I was born.
Mm,
And I remember when I was growing up, we did not have restaurant chains.
mm.
That's pretty sad. Like I grew up before McDonald's. Like I remember, or maybe it had started. I guess McDonald's was there, but it wasn't.
I don't know when McDonald's was started, but I definitely remember that they were around when I was growing up.
I think McDonald's was around, but our parents didn't. It wasn't as big of a deal. It wasn't as big of a deal.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was growing up that our grocery store used to receive a steer every week from a farm. And there was a real butcher in there.
Mm.
And the butcher, my mom was friends with the butcher because the butcher used to sharpen her knives. And um, you had to go in at the beginning of the week and order your meat for the end of the week. And the butcher would then butcher the cow or
Mhm.
the steer rather, and then uh, you would come pick your stuff up. And if you waited too long, the only thing that you would be able to get is the ground. And
Oh,
so if you wanted to have a dinner party or whatever, you had to know. And you didn't want not to be prepared because otherwise you'd have to make meatloaf when everybody came because there would be nothing, just meatloaf or meatballs. I mean, that would be all you're left with if you waited too long. And so I remember that my mother always kept stuff frozen because she wanted to always be able to entertain just in case somebody showed up like at the last minute. But and she didn't want to have to have to wait to only get the ground or something.
right.
So this was something that was a thing. And then I remember when I think I was like 14, and we came back from a vacation, and my mom wanted me to run in the shop and grab some milk on the way home. So we had milk for the next day. And I walked in, and there was all these different color milks for the first time. And I didn't understand what it was. And I was like, I went back out to the car and I said, I don't know what's the real milk.
What did they
And
do?
my
Did they add chocolate flavoring and
no, no,
strawberry
no, no,
flavoring?
they had different colored lids and it wasn't
Oh,
just the
oh,
red milk anymore. And I went out and I told my mom, I don't know what you want me to buy because there's a bunch of different kind of milk. And she's like, that's stupid. There's only milk.
right.
There's just
Oh,
milk. There's not a bunch of kinds of milk. There's just milk.
oh, there
And
wasn't suddenly there was the 1%, the
yeah, all of a sudden,
non-fat.
yeah, all of a sudden, for the first time, it was like fat-free, skim, like whatever, or 1%, 2%. This never existed before that. And
Right.
I was so confused. I told her, I said, I don't know what you want me to buy. And my mom was mad. because we had been on the road. She didn't want to see anybody in the store. She wasn't feeling like she was dressed to go into the store.
Mhm.
And she had to go into the store. And she was so mad. And, before that, we used to always have a milkman who used to leave milk on our door. And, but before that, before that, that was the case. But by the time I was a teenager, now I walk in the store and all of a sudden there's these different milks. My mom went into the guy and she's like, "What is going on in here? Where is the milk? Like, what is the real milk?" And he's like, "You want the red one." And she said, "What is all this other stuff?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You just want the red one. It's okay." And then we knew that we always had to make sure that we got the red one because that was the real milk.
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this was so crazy." And now, so when we said in school, they were trying to teach us, your parents don't really know, but it would be really better for
Oh,
you if
right.
you did blah, 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 blah. If you did da, 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 da. And so they're constantly, I remember when we were in school, they were totally like, your parents don't really know any better, but, we want to make sure that and maybe
Yeah.
your parents haven't gotten to telling you this yet or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but it would be better for you to be fat free. It'd be really good health. It would be really healthy, blah, 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 blah. And so now you go home and you're supposed to call out your parents for smoking, call them out for eating fat, call them out for eating, whatever, eggs. And this is what they have done to society.
Mhm.
And what that means, friends, is they have taught us how to walk in lies. And that is immoral. That is immoral. Lies align with immorality and truth aligns with morality. And they want everybody to believe that morality is relative. No, it's not. There is no relative like what do they call it? Moral relativism.
That's right.
No. This is called lies and lies on lies.
Yeah,
Okay?
and moral relativism is a false religion.
Oh, I didn't even know that was they make everything into a religion, girl. Okay,
Yeah.
so like, have they ever had you ever learned about um intelligence? Like real intelligence?
Well, not in the way that you're saying it. Now you've got me kinda curious. But
So, intel is the masculine side of the word intelligence, okay?
Mhm.
Intelligence. Gents is genere, which is the feminine side. So the left hemisphere of the brain is the intellectual side, and the right hemisphere of the brain is the the generative side of the human brain. And they've never actually taught us this, which is crazy because we should know how our brain works. And in school, they've never taught us about human consciousness. They've never taught us about how the human brain works.
Mhm.
So the generative side of the brain is the feminine side, and these are represented by symbols. So you have the upside down triangle that represents genere or the generative side. It's also known as the womb or the chalice. And these symbols matter, okay?
Mhm.
And the masculine side, oops, did I just push a button and mess something up? Okay, that's just on my side.
Well, I'm still here, so it must be
Sorry.
okay.
So on the masculine side, it's represented by a right side up triangle. The masculine is represented with a right side up triangle, okay? And and this is known as the blade. So you have the blade and you have the chalice,
Mm.
okay? And so
The blade.
the blade, it's the masculine side.
That's the
And
that's like the court. That's the same thing as the court, the blade.
uh-huh. Yeah.
In the parable of the wheat and the chaff.
Ah, yes. So you will notice that
Hmm.
this is going to take us and relate back to many, many things. Um, uh,
And if you
I
combine those together, isn't that the same symbology of the, Jewish star? Yeah,
Star of
yeah.
David.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
when you put masculine and feminine, if you want holistic intelligence, it's represented with the star. Now
Mhm.
they've villainized all of these symbols. They've
Mhm.
villainized them and they've occulted them. In Latin, occult means to hide,
Mm.
hidden. And so they've hidden these things. Who's they? We'll get to that in a minute. But the masculine side of the brain is the intellect side. It is the, scientific, mathematical side of the brain. It's the one that operates with more logic and reason. You got the
Mhm.
feminine side of the brain, which is, more creative, like, it is operating in big picture thinking and pattern recognition. And so if you only operate on left brain dominance or right brain dominance, a lot of people, you might have heard people say, "Oh, you're so left brain dominant. So great. You're so artistic. Oh my gosh." Or you're so right brain, or sorry, you would have been right. Yeah, right brain dominant. If you're right brain dominant, then you're artistic. If you're left brain dominant, you're more mathematical and scientific, right? And they think this is so awesome. No, you're deficient actually. It's not dominant. That sounds awesome. But like it's deficiency, cuz what they're doing is they're training people to be more one way or another. Oh, you can only be an artist or a mathematician. I mean,
Mhm.
you can never be both. And obviously, we know if anybody's an actual artist, you need to have math involved in that. I mean, believe me, I was a musician and there is no way I could play piano if I didn't know how to count, if I couldn't keep time, if I couldn't, like I had to be able to do the math to make the music work because everything comes back to math. And even if I want to make a picture and I want to manage dimensions and I want to manage, uh, anything, I have to really actually know geometry if I want to just draw a picture
Mhm.
that is going to be in balance, right? So there's so much to this, but my bigger point is that we think intelligence is just intellect, but it's not. Intelligence is holistic. And so the other thing that people don't know, and this is the new agers are going to kind of get mad at me for this, but because the way that hold on, I'll show you how that works. They say that, the right side of the brain, the feminine side, is based on emotions. Emotions, so emotional,
I
or
feel.
yeah. And on the other side, it's just, you know, you're a narcissist if you're only thinking, you know, like men, right? Men are narcissists. So, uh,
I don't have that belief.
no, but to be
I
holistically,
appreciate men.
yeah, to be holistic, you have to realize that, you have to, like, even the new age people are just, you should have emotions and you should have thoughts. And, like mentalism, like you just think thoughts and, you just think positive. Just be positive, feel and think and feel. And that's it. You don't have to even do anything. You just have to think and feel. And this is
Mhm.
the entire new age concept, thinking and feeling and being positive. You have to do anything. Don't do anything, okay? Well, you know why? Because action is masculine.
Mm.
If you turn it into emotions, if your emotions and your thoughts are aligned with your action, now you're holistically moving. And now you are actually operating in complete balance. And they don't want you to do that. They,
Yeah,
who
and
is,
when you say "they," you're talking about the handlers of this of, what we get introduced to or what we don't get introduced to, right?
right. So, like, let's just identify the elephant in the room. Let's just identify the elephant in the room. Because what people don't understand is the people that are operating holistically, like intelligently, with their entire intelligence in place, intelligence, those people are the most calm. They are the most morally centered. They're the ones who are operating in their highest form of grace because they have a balance. And the people that I'm talking about, the bad guy is always the same bad guy. Because remember how we were saying, oh, it's the government. And whatever, I've said this over and over again. Let's identify the bad guy because we, the people, are the government. We, the people,
We're
are the
supposed
government.
to be, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's
We,
the
the people,
that's the
right.
goal here.
Right. So the corporatocracy is the bad guy. Let's pay attention to who the bad guy is. The bad guy is the corporatocracy. The corporatocracy. Who is the corporatocracy? So the corporatocracy is owned and managed by the Vatican and the Pope.
Ultimately, I mean, that's why they say that all roads lead to Rome.
That's
And
what it means. Yeah, all
mhm.
roads lead to Rome. People don't think that means anything anymore because they believe that Rome fell.
Oh, no, that's one of the greatest, illusions. One of the best magic tricks ever is they just stopped calling it that.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Mhm.
think that this is might be enough for today, Michelle. I don't know what you think, but like I think that we really exposed a lot of truth. We're interested here in sharing the truth. We want people to be able to walk on the truth. And so anything that Michelle or I have said today, we would really love for you to comment below and tell us if we're wrong. If anything that we said is wrong and why. Why is it wrong? And if we were able to share something with you today that you can get with, that you can line up with. Me and Michelle thought we would have this exit stage left conversation every Monday as often as we can. And eventually, I guess we might get to the point where we are going to start taking questions or not taking questions. I don't know. We haven't quite decided that yet. But I think at this red hot moment, we just have a lot to share in what we're learning on our path and in the work that we're doing with Anna, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, really, Anna has given everybody such a gift of comprehending that we have the ultimate choice to continue to be subjects of this government that was supposed to be serving us, right? Or we can, like you said, exit stage left, choose to exit this matrix sort of top down, nightmare of a system, and instead talk to people and work together to restore our lawful government. That's the ultimate goal,
Right.
you know.
So I think next time we can get into really defining that. I think that it was important for us to address the fact that there is an actual race to control human consciousness. And at this point, I don't know that I want to call it human consciousness, and we'll get back into this later, but I would imagine that we need to just say, look, friends, we're all Homo sapien sapien. And I know a lot of people, Michelle, right now are like, we're not animals.
Well, no, I just prefer to say man or woman. That's all. To me,
Right. Well, we can keep it simple.
I looked all through the Bible and I can't find Homo sapien anywhere.
Oh,
But
well,
man has been trying to define the wonders of everything that God created for us, to the point
mm,
where, we could tell the weather before it happens, right? We have tools now to go, oh, it's going to be 75 degrees today. Um, so we can use our own understanding of things, but I don't know that we'll ever be able to comprehend the enormity of the one that created it all. You know what I mean?
mm. Well, I don't know a whole lot, Michelle, but what I know is that the creation never surpasses the creator.
That's right.
So that
Yep.
that's the only thing I know. And I believe that we are all victims of corporate manipulation.
Mhm.
And so we definitely need to there's a grief process involved
Oh yeah.
in order to be able to move forward and for us to actually successfully get organized, we need to go ahead and allow everyone to grieve.
Mhm.
And so Michelle and I hope that we can help everyone through that grief process
Mhm.
and to move more powerfully forward into our power as we shed our slave selves. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan to me. any
right.
way that I can help people, I love to be of service. So I appreciate the opportunity. And I'm really grateful that you invited me to this cool dialogue.
Well, Michelle, I really appreciate your work so much. And I hope that
Thank you.
people will check out all the things that you're doing. Friends, we're going to put some link trees in the notes here. So there will be a link tree for you to follow the work that Michelle's doing. There's going to be a link tree for the work that I'm doing over here as well. And um, I'm not looking for followers of me. I'm looking for people to follow the truth. And I kind of feel like you feel the same way, Michelle.
I totally do.
Yeah.
I've decided long ago it's not about me, but it is about the truth. And I think that the truth is refreshing for people because it just resonates. Like you were talking at the top of the call about the vibration, and the truth is refreshing because it's simple and it's not complicated. And it
No.
doesn't involve lies, manipulation, deceit, anything like that. So, and
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of that. I'm sick and tired of the lies and the BS, and grateful for Anna's work,
Yes.
being a shining light on, going this way,
Hello.
over there.
And even she's not looking for a follower. Even she's saying it's thousands and thousands of people. So we're just trying to shine a light on the truth and let everybody know, hey, friends, come this way if you want, because the truth is about ease and flow. Ease and
Mhm.
flow. If it involves chaos and confusion, we're not for that. I relinquished that a long time ago, Michelle. I decided a long time ago I refuse to allow any chaos and confusion, and I only will walk in the truth because I honestly can't remember very much. So might as might as well just remember the truth, whatever I can. All right, friends. So we're going to be trying to do this every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 11 a.m. Central.
Pacific. Uh-huh.
I mean Pacific. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'll get it together, y'all. PST. So we will see you next Monday.
Awesome. Thank you, Niti.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.